My name is Mr. Harris. I am 62 years old. I live in a small, quiet house at the edge of town. The kind of place where mornings are slow and the sound of birds replaces the sound of people. I spend most of my days tending the garden, drinking tea by the window, and watching the world move on without me. It wasn't always this quiet. There was a time when this house was full of laughter, my wife humming in the kitchen, my son running through the hallway, the smell of fresh bread in the air. Those were the golden days. But time has a way of changing everything. My wife passed away when our son, Ethan, was just 10 years old. I was a teacher back then, teaching history to high school students. I still remember standing in front of the class, pretending everything was fine, when inside, my heart was breaking. Ethan was all I had left. I promised myself I'd raise him the best I could, to be kind, strong, and honest. I gave him everything I had, every bit of energy, every late night helping with homework, every weekend spent cheering at his soccer games. I wasn't just his father. I was his whole world. And he was mine. Years passed, and I watched him grow, taller, wiser, more independent. And slowly, I started to realize something I wasn't ready to face. He didn't need me the same way anymore. It started small. Fewer talks at dinner, quick answers instead of long conversations. Then came the day he told me he'd been offered a job in another city. A good job, something he had worked hard for. He looked so proud when he told me. And I smiled. I really did. But deep down, I felt something inside me crack, just a little. That night after he went to bed, I sat alone in the living room. The lamp cast a soft light over his childhood photos on the wall. There he was, smiling in his school uniform, holding his first trophy, laughing with his mother. My eyes blurred, and I whispered, "You've grown so fast, son." The day he left was bright and sunny. I helped him pack his car, pretending to be cheerful. He hugged me tight and said, "I'll call you every week, Dad." I nodded, trying to keep my voice steady. As his car disappeared down the road, the silence that followed was almost unbearable. I stood at the gate for a long time, staring at the empty street, feeling the weight of all those years pressing on my chest. The house that once felt alive now felt like an echo. The clock ticked louder. The rooms seemed bigger, emptier. I caught myself setting 2 plates at dinner, then quietly putting one back. It's funny how habits stay even after people leave. Days turned into weeks. He called, like he promised, sometimes once a week, sometimes less. He was always busy, always tired, but always polite. "I'm doing great, Dad," he'd say. "I miss home." I'd smile and tell him I was fine too. But the truth was, I wasn't fine. I missed him. His laughter, his mess, even his silence. One evening, I sat in his old room. The bed was neatly made, the books still lined up on the shelf. I picked up a photo. Ethan at 16, smiling with his arm around me. And for the first time in a long while, I let myself cry. Not because I was angry, but because I was proud. He had become everything I hoped he'd be. Strong, capable, ready to face the world. And I realized this was what all the years of sacrifice were for. Not to keep him beside me, but to prepare him to stand on his own. That night, I sat on the porch, watching the stars. The air was cool, and for the first time, the silence didn't feel so heavy. It felt peaceful, like life was gently whispering, "You did well." Sometimes love means holding on tight, but sometimes it means letting go. Watching someone walk away, knowing they're carrying a piece of your heart with them. It hurts, but it's also beautiful. Now, when Ethan calls, I don't ask when he's coming home. I just listen. I listen to his stories, his laughter, the sound of life in his voice. And I feel proud. Proud that he's living, growing, becoming everything I always dreamed he would. The loneliness is still there, yes. Some nights I still talk to the empty room, still set 2 cups of tea instead of 1. But there's peace in my heart now. Because I know love doesn't end when distance begins. It just changes shape. To every parent who feels the ache of an empty home, remember this: you didn't lose your child. You raised them so well they could fly on their own. Sometimes love means stepping back, letting those you raised find their own path, even if it leaves you standing alone. I still watch the road every Sunday evening, just in case a familiar car turns the corner. And when it does, when my son comes home for a visit, the house fills with laughter again. For a little while, everything feels whole. And when he leaves, I smile. Because now I understand. Love isn't about keeping them close. It's about giving them the courage to go.